we are online.
Maybe I just need to start leaving Discords. We're going to say that's what the issue is.
Yeah, let's blame all the other Discords.
Yeah.
Bunch of jerks. It's not our fault, it's everybody else's. Hey, chat room. Hey, everybody. We're here. It's time for Azeroth Roundtable. It feels like Sunday.
It feels like Saturday.
Alright, well, good thing we got a definitive answer.
It feels like the weekend. How's that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, are you good to go on your end, Ben?
I'm just tweeting us out really quick.
Ugh.
I'm just glad you guys were talking as you were like, I'm going to go live because I was going to do a terrible ending of a joke just so everyone was like, what did we miss?
John, I'm starting to have regrets.
Starting?
Look, some people come on and they want to make sure they never get invited back.
That's not me.
Twitch.tv/Azeroth30. That's our Twitter.
Hey, you did it. You figured it out.
Yes, I did. Now, if only I could figure out this other issue. I did check my email, and I did see that you did say that you sent the email and that you found it and that it sent it to other places and stuff. Hey, speaking of emails, we got a comment on our last episode that says, "Hi, guys."
Hey.
Hi.
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 I think that's just a check to see if we pay attention to comments?
I don't know. I really don't.
Okay.
Maybe Alessander. I don't generally check the email when I'm working, and it's been a whirlwind of stuff today. So, anyways. Oh, if it's about the mobile game, yeah, we're probably not going to talk about that. Because I remember. I think I did see it, but I didn't read the whole article. But anyways, are you guys ready to do an actual show?
I'm ready.
All
Ready.
And I got the thumbs up. So that means I stopped the pre-show recording that I was doing, which is very minimal and probably doesn't have anything at all that we're going to be putting on the tail end of the podcast this week.
Probably
because
not.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Woo.
That's what people
Well, that
like.
being
They're
said-
like, oh, let's hear the funny stuff that happened. There's a
Oh.
bunch of people being serious. Okay, great.
Yeah. But now I can say things like, welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 295. It is WoW's 14th anniversary to the day this time. We're not just celebrating. My name is Ben Bumhofer. It is the weekend. And with me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hi, Ben. We're here. I changed it up because I messed it up. It's Friday in Azeroth. I'm trying really hard not to be sick. And I'm happy to be here. And we made it. We made it through Thanksgiving. We made it through Black Friday. If you don't celebrate any of those things, then, it was an easier battle for a lot of you than it
Or
was
harder.
for me. But we're here, and it's time to talk about World of Warcraft.
Yes, but we are not alone this week, John. No, we're not.
Oh,
I thought you were going to
not?
react or say something else, so I just kept going.
No, I kind of went with, no, I know, we've been talking to him. But, I broke immersion.
Yeah, it's okay. But anyways, with us this week is Draven Dresden. We'll just call you Draven. How's that sound?
That's fine by me. That's what I generally go by overall.
Wonderful. Welcome to the show, Draven. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. I've only been not necessarily bothering you about it every week, but like in chat room especially, I'm like, I want on the show. And
I
was like, oh, you're fine. I never expected anyway.
No,
but
no,
thank you. I love this.
I muted you. I had no idea you were asking all this time. So
Yeah, we muted you
I have
early
that
on.
effect sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when I go on and on every week about grapes.
I knew it within the first 2 minutes. I told John that if you brought this up, I was just going to drop you from the call.
There's nothing we can do about the grapes. I can't do the voice right now, so
Yeah, that's true.
we're
I wasn't
unfortunately
to be fair, I wasn't asking for it or anything like that. I just was saying that's probably why I got mute.
we're in a grape safe zone,
Are
free
you
from
actually
grapes.
able to mute people on Twitch? I don't know. Anyways, so as I start off at the beginning of the show, it is actually World of Warcraft's 14-year anniversary or birthday or whatever you want to call it today.
Birthiversary.
Yes. And because of that, I had the single best raid I have ever been in Wednesday night. I tweeted a picture of it. And John, I don't know if you saw the picture at all, did you?
No.
Wednesday night I tweeted something? Okay.
Describe
Draven,
it to me.
You might have seen it, I'm not sure. But it had me standing in the entrance of Uldir before you go into the first boss. And John, there's a pack of corgis around me.
Okay.
And one one troll druid, but a whole bunch of corgis. And I have to say that raiding with a whole pack of corgis is one of the greatest things you can possibly do in the World of Warcraft. And you get those.
I have heard about this anniversary item. I have not gotten it, but I've heard it exists.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons you probably haven't gotten it is because it only lasts for 10 minutes and it has a 30-minute cooldown.
Oh, great. So it's fun, right? Like a toy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It goes in your toy box.
Oh. With all the other junk.
Pretty much.
So much junk in there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But Draven, are you a fan of the corgi goggles?
I do like the corgi goggles. I still have some testing with it I want to do because it's all friendly NPCs and player characters and all that. So I want to go back to the last raid of last expansion and see if the Titans get turned into like Titan corgi.
Oh. Oh man. Okay, so now I really want to do that cut scene that where you walk out and then you have Agrimar standing in front of you. Oh man, I would love to see him just walk out as a molten corgi.
He is hostile to you, so I don't think that'll work, but
in the cutscene, is he though? That's the thing.
The one where he jumps down out of the sky and you're just standing there like, yeah, come at me before you get teleported away like a wuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hostile.
Yeah. Ah, dang. I thought that'd be pretty good actually. But John, I've seen things like, well, every single NPC as a corgi. I have seen things like corgis riding on mounts going around. I've seen corgis chasing corgis. It has been just so great, so much fun. And I gotta say, I gotta do something where I have an army behind me. So I'm really thinking of actually doing a war front and putting on my corgi goggles and just seeing massive amounts just running in the forest and chopping down trees and gathering ore and everything like that. And it might make it fun, and I'm looking forward to that.
I just ran one today. It was the smoothest I have ever run one. I'm going to say it's because I was in a party of 3 people, which immediately made it 3 like-minded individuals amidst the sea of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And, as smooth as it went, still didn't exactly have a great time. But it went smooth. we didn't lose any structures. There was a constant visual progression on the map. It was all good.
Oh, well, that's good then.
I will say that the last minute or so is the most fun of that entire thing because you're fighting the boss, whatever the named boss happens to be that particular week, and then when it ends, you get loot. And if it's your first time running it for that particular cycle, you get more loot when you get back out, and it's 370 or better. And I'm just like, give me something good, give me something good. Oh, almost
that is
everything.
the best part. You really have isolated the best part of it.
Well, the funny thing is,
you've really laser focused on the part of the Warfront that is quality.
The worst part is that I always get like, okay, so the loot I get from killing the boss is like, it's a belt. And then I get out, and then my 370 piece of gear is also a belt.
That actually is funny you mentioned that. That has never happened to me until this run. This was the first time I had it, And Kyle, who I was running with, said the same thing. He's like, I always get double whatever the thing is. And I was like, literally, as he was saying that, I was clicking it and going, oh, that's weird. That never happens to me. And then I got double back item. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and actually every single time I've run it, that has happened, and it's been like, you're so happy because when you first get, or when I first got that little bit of loot, I'm like, it's an upgrade. I'm so happy about this because I need a new belt. This one looks really cool. Go out, open up my quest. It's the same exact thing. So I don't even get something new in my transmog closet because it's the same thing, just on your item level. It's like, okay.
Well, you might get a new transmog piece depending on its item level that you're receiving. Like if you're just running it, you get 340 no matter what, and
Mhm.
that's its own transmog. But if it warforges up, there's another one, and if it warforges all the way to 370, there's another one. So there's 3 versions of every single piece. And my paladin, who I know I'm alliance, so on my paladin, I know I'm sorry, but I've been trying to get the 370 shoulders out of there for every single time it's gone through, and it's just not happening. And it's like, I just want the little lion heads for the shoulders.
Yeah. I hope they come up with a good way for us to eventually transmog, get the transmogs for these missing pieces. Because I actually think the set looks really cool, but I don't know the likelihood of you getting a complete set of all 3 versions across the scope of us being interested in it as a thing.
Yeah, and well,
Um,
the really funny thing is that a lot of the pieces, at least for me, for leather, look so similar that, I got a new pair of shoulders that wasn't an upgrade, but it opened up transmog apparently, but there's still only the one slot in there, and it's the same exact one that I had for the other. So it's like, really?
I mean,
And
I will tell you the upgraded visual ones for the Horde side look pretty cool. They put some pretty impressive spikes on those things when you
maybe I
start
just
to
didn't notice
upgrade
the
it.
spikes.
I'm actually wearing a transmog of that outfit because I like it so much, but I'm more excited about the next one because it's all Forsaken themed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that at all.
So this one, for the Horde side at least, was more, general for the Horde, red, black, and spiky,
Yeah.
or red, black, and horny, as I prefer to call it. And then the next one is going to be, kind of purple, dark blue, gray, black, and Forsaken themed.
Oh man, you're not the first AOS that comes up.
No, but I'm the best Eos that comes up.
Yeah. Oh, I've got those same shoes as you, or the same boots with the little spikes on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are pretty good. Yeah, no, yours are spikier than mine are.
Are you scoping my mogs,
I'm
man?
totally scoping your mogs. You should totally scope my mogs because I have a very similar look going on.
I might actually wear armor on my demon hunter with the Forsaken armor when it comes out, instead of the, as some people have called it, the quote unquote slut mod, which is as little covering as possible, because I just look at demon hunters like they jump around, they're moving around, armor gets in the way of that. So
Yeah.
as little as possible. It made sense to me, and I'm not staring at it or nothing. So I think it's okay.
I
Well,
don't know how to spell your character's name, Ben.
I just put it in the Discord.
I can't click it because I'm using that Discord for streaming, Ben.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, I'll just put it in chat for you so that everybody can know how to spell my name, and I'm probably going to be the only one to show up. And now I have a cat walking on my desk.
Great.
Awesome.
We've covered everything.
Yeah,
We've covered
exactly.
it all. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I know it's annoying. I'm sorry, but no, I like the look of this and everything. Versus the old deer sets for leather, I'm not a fan of that. Although I just completely finished that set in raid on Wednesday. I got the pants I needed, but I don't know. It's just I know that there was no tier, and I honestly don't know if there's going to be tier in the rest of the expansion or not. But I really do enjoy tier pieces and tier sets as opposed to all the leather gets this, all the plate gets this, and I mean, yeah, we've got the Warfront armor and stuff, and it's distinct enough and it looks cool. In fact, it looks way cooler than the old deer stuff, in my opinion. But I don't know, there's something about not having that kind of class identity when we just came from an expansion with tons of class identity,
Yeah.
that kind of breaks a little bit of that for me.
No, I
Well,
can
I know.
understand that.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, jump right in, Draven.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I know this expansion in particular, they're gonna stick with the Azurite traits until the end, unless something goes terribly wrong for the entire expansion, then they might for the last raid. But it's from everything I've read up on it, it is going to be this expansion only, probably. Like tier sets are probably coming back. They just didn't do it this one because they were like, instead of doing a set for the paladin and the rogue and the mage and the monk, blah blah blah, all the classes, we're just going to do these particular sets because we wanted to theme around the bosses, what would they actually possibly drop. So if you're going to drop an armor piece, it'll be, you get, this is what the plate looks like, this is what the leather looks like
Mm-hmm.
from the bosses. So that's what they did for this expansion, at least.
I mean, I like the idea behind that. I think it's cool. It was, there's a lot of jokes about old school vanilla hunter gear because it almost always looked bad, but I also always loved the idea that they were basically wearing armor made up of whatever we were fighting a lot of at the time. Like, I always thought that was kind of a neat kind of flavor element because everybody else was like, yes, I got this leather and look at all this plate looking shit I made with it. Whereas the hunters looked like, no, we're hunting dragons. Here's our armor made of dragons, And
Yeah.
I think there's something cool to be said about the fantasy behind that. I just feel like, we kind of were in this weird place in Burning Crusade where everybody talks about the clown transmog and the clown closet and all of that. And there was just a whole bunch of random stuff. And that wasn't great, but we also didn't have transmog at the time, which made it worse. And then we got to this place where it was like, I think it was Pandaria was the first one where I really noticed it, where it was like, no, these are going to be the 3 styles that you're going to see. It's going to be these styles, different colors,
Mm-hmm.
and then there will be tier gear, and that's all the gear that's going to be in the game. And now it kind of feels like you're still getting this is the style, but instead of having a bunch of separate tier gear, now it's just like, and then there is this one style on top of it. I feel like they're
Well,
giving their artists and designers a break, maybe, which, if they need it, that's fine. But as somebody who
yeah.
likes the look of gear and thinks gear should look cool, there is an element of like, man, it feels like everybody's kind of wearing the same thing right now.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the leveling gear looks really good for, a bunch of the different armor types. At least from what I've seen. I've really enjoyed that. I do get what you're saying about, hey, it's the same thing but a different color, because that's exactly what happened when you're leveling up. You have at least for the Zandalari side, you have the Nazmir color, and you have the Zuldazar color, and then you have the Vol'dun
Yeah.
color. And from what I've seen in Draven, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's kind of what happened with Colteris too, right?
Yeah, every zone seemed to have its own color. It just depended on which one you went through, which order. Uh, and I don't think it really mattered overall which way you went because each zone had its color. Like, I don't remember exactly, but like, let's say Tier Guard Sound, the zone to the south, let's say that was more of a blue tint. And then Storm Song was more of a ice, not quite blue, but ice blue kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then Drustvar, which is the best zone in the expansion, in my opinion, it was more of a brown color. So it didn't really matter which way you went because you were going to see all 3 versions if you did all the quests, which I recommend both doing and not doing because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But
Well, it also
yeah.
sounds like you can like mix and match colors on your side, where us we kind of could because we had green, red, and like gray.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
just making up colors off the top of my head. I don't
Oh,
remember
okay.
what they were.
I mean, we
Oh,
have them. We have access to them. We can see them. Because it's
yeah.
the same stuff that we could get and vice versa. I mean, it's fine. It's okay. I don't mean to make it sound like there
Oh
isn't
no.
anything out there. It's just, it's one of those things where gear is kind of exciting for that first zone, and then you're like, okay, well, now there will be different colors of this gear, and then there will be a dungeon, like a heroic dungeon version or alteration to it slightly, and then there will be raid gear beyond that. So it's got its place, and I actually think there's also a case to be made that for this expansion that's about people lining up on a battlefield, and instead of being special snowflakes, being part of the army fighting each other,
True.
kind of having everybody in faction pride style gear kind of makes a little bit of sense too.
Yeah, I didn't really think of that side of it actually. Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
kind of a cog in the machine, whereas like the previous expansion, we were the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I will say that I do miss raid sets for each
Mm-hmm.
class. Like I know some classes they got royally screwed over on their whatever raid they had, and then there were some classes that were like, you hit the jackpot this raid. Like Dragon Soul. Say what you want about the raid itself. The warrior armor in there is amazing.
Warrior armor actually kind of looks good a lot of the time. Of course, maybe that's just because I'm a little bit more biased towards, hey, warriors are awesome. But
Yeah,
meanwhile,
maybe.
I still don't find, or I still don't like many hunter sets. Like, no offense, hunters. There's cool stuff out there, and I'm sure everybody likes a lot of the different ones, but I still use just the generic male set from Pandaria that's like gold with the like white highlights on it and everything. Just, I don't know, just never really found anything I like better.
I generally use random questing rewards on most of my classes and not particular raid tiers unless I'm going for a specific theme. Like my hunter is a goblin, and somehow I don't know how this happened. Somehow I managed to name change it to the name Zim. So I gave him a pet dog named Gur, and I dressed up the goblin accordingly. So it is now Zim, and I think I took the Conqueror title because Invader's not an option. And I'm just running around on my hunter with that. And I'm just like, yeah. So I dressed them up like that. It was just one of those things. Whereas other characters I have, this raid set is what that character wears. Like, okay, I got a new piece. Awesome. Now I can transmog to this set that I like.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on the character and the class fantasy or character fantasy or however you want to phrase it.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that actually kind of nails why, even as I've been saying all this, I feel a little bad for picking on the armor this go round, because while I have strong opinions about what we have, this is probably the most in any expansion since Transmog got released where I have transmogged into stuff that is currently relevant armor.
yeah.
Like, usually it was like, great, I got the new Pandaria thing. Burp, switch that over to something else. Let's now go with this. It's the only expansion where I was all in on the dinosaur stuff right away, because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wear these clothes because I'm in this cool place and I'm gonna
You
do
like having
dino stuff.
the dinosaur head helm?
That I transmog out of. I didn't want to have a dino head.
Yeah.
Look, hide helmet is always an important feature.
It is. It really
Helmets,
is.
it turns out, is for Boba Fett and maybe nobody else.
Yeah, hide helmet, hide shoulders, depending on what class you're playing and what faction, and hide cloak are definitely things that I use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Helmets are rough, man. It's hard to make
course,
a helmet look good.
Judge Dredd is the second one who doesn't. Oh,
Judge
and
Dredd's
RoboCop.
helmet looks good. Darth Vader. Star Wars has good helmets, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, RoboCop, never take that helmet off.
Yeah, RoboCop's better with a helmet. The
Yeah.
Rocketeer, better with a helmet.
Yeah, true. I mean, also it helps him fly.
Yeah.
Or turn. So, like functional helmet other than, just protecting the head.
Right, but I remember thinking that the Rocketeer helmet looked really cool, and I felt like in the movie, it was sort of like in Spider-Man movies, how he constantly is, like, pulling his mask off. Because, like, we need to see the
Yeah.
actor. So it always bugged me in the Rocketeer, because he was like, oh, I look cool, and then he was like, time for the helmet to come off. I was like, dude, you look cool, now you look like a guy.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? But anyway, so there are two actual things that I do want to kind of touch on when it does come to transmog. And one of them is definitely the idea of not switching to an armor set until you have enough pieces of it to look good. Which I have totally done that last expansion for one of the tier sets, the one where it's the monk set, and they're wearing like a I don't know, like a panther head and a whole bunch of really cool stuff. But this expansion too, it was really hard for me to fully switch over to, like, I don't know, the new color scheme when I was leveling, because it's like, okay, well, I got the chest, but I don't have the boots that match, or the pants, and I'm like, I can't have like green and red. Like, sure, they kind of look good, but I gotta go all or nothing. And then even more so, like going through and getting the alliance side looks from like world quests and stuff. Like, I got a tricorn hat and I was the happiest person in the world, and I wanted to wear that, but I had nothing really good to work with that until I did a couple more world quests, and then I swapped over to a pirate outfit for a while. It was
Yeah,
fun.
I
So
mean, it's the gift and the curse of having that yak. You all talked me into buying that yak, and it was great. Like, I love that I bought it, but the problem is now Blizzard. You should really discount that yak. I think it's a better gold sink for everybody to have it than it is for people to spend a lot on it right now. Because honestly, I've lost so much gold to the yak after the fact. Because I get a piece of gear in a new zone, it's a different color, gotta transmog that to match. Then I get another piece of gear, wrong color, gotta transmog that. Same thing until I have the full set. Then I have to look and say, okay, now that I've got the full set, which do I prefer? Oh, the new color? Well, I guess I'm transmogging everything now over to the other.
mm-hmm.
Time to go to the next zone and repeat the process all over again. And it
I
doesn't
will.
help that right now with gear the way it is, optimization, every time I go to ask Mr. Robot, it's like, okay, why don't you switch back to that 355 piece of gear? And I'm like, are you sure? I have a 360. And it's like, no, you want the 355. Okay. Oh, that was 3 transmogs ago now. Because it's just been hanging out in my bag. Better transmog that too.
Yeah, I keep so much gear in my bags just because of that same issue. I go to a different location. I don't use Mr. Robot anymore, but I've got 370 gear, 375 gear. I've got a piece of 385, I think, and 355 and up. And every single slot outside of the neck, because there's no reason to keep a neck if you can have one. I have at least 2 or 3 items just in case it's just 1% better, or in my case, most of the time, 0.1% better,
Right.
and it's just insane. But
Hey,
with your helmet idea thing there, Ben,
mm-hmm.
you could transmog it to the tricorn and then just hide it. That way, it's all set for you. And then when you get the whole set, you can, okay, I'm going to show my helmet now, and that's free.
Yeah, I mean, I could, but I could also take the time and go through and do everything I possibly can to get as much gear as I can to make it look good. In fact, I'm not going to lie. That's one of the driving forces on why I wanted the Champions of Azeroth exalted as much as possible, because that, like, piratey looking shirt you get when you're exalted is pretty good looking. And as soon as I got exalted, I bought that shirt, built an entire transmog around it, saved it, and then went back to what I'm wearing now.
Wait a minute, what piratey looking shirt?
Oh, you haven't seen that? I mean, you're a leather wearer. It should be there. It's like, I think,
Oh, I did.
yeah,
Yeah, I got that.
yeah. Well, okay, maybe piratey isn't right. Like, more like Royal Fleet looking shirt.
Yeah.
It kind of fits more.
I think I might have had something like that already though from the mythics that I was running.
Probably.
But yeah, that stuff's cool. I was running with that kind of look today. Running some mythics, as a matter of fact. I feel like I'm betraying myself, my past self. I feel like me doing this show on Legion would hear me now and would just go, "You friggin' tool of the system." Like, he'd be edgier because he was younger and he could get away with it. Uh, because, man, mythics are a lot of fun, you guys. Like, a lot of fun. And I was dead set against them an expansion ago, and I ran my first Mythic 7 today,
Ooh.
And that was a really good time. I ran it with Kyle and Kristen from There Will Be Dungeons. We'll go ahead and give that as their show.
Hey, you know what? That's a good team to run with.
Yeah, as well as many others, and then also Jason and Spencer from the Starting Zone.
Oh, they're pretty
And
awesome too.
yeah, it was a very good group. And we got in there and had some good times. I think Jason streamed it. So if you do want to see the Mythic runs, I think that's actually available on their Twitch. Uh, and you can check out. The Mythic 7 went rough because the current affixes are pretty brutal for the one we were running. But it was a lot of fun. I'm trying to remember. Okay, twitch.tv/shieldwalled is where you would go if you want to watch it. But yeah, we ran a bunch of mythics, and I'm having a really good time with it. And the gear from it is nice. I think I preferred running mythics and dungeons to raiding. I didn't think I would get there.
Well, this is nothing against my raid team,
Oh,
but you were with some really fun people too. In a tight knit group, I can understand. Like when we're raiding, we have a lot of fun and everything, but it's always one of those things where you have more people, it just gets more challenging. You can't really tighten up on encounters and stuff like that. So, like when we have people who are calling off and everything, and we're down to just the 10, we seem to be a lot more efficient. It's just the idea of herding cats versus, you know, hey, you have a lot less cats. I don't know.
right. Plus, there's a level of responsibility that's just lessened when it's just for other people. You can be a little more casual. You can have a little more fun. There's a little more room to just say, "Oh, we're fighting this boss." So right now, the affixes for Mythic that we were dealing with, there's another one that we didn't come into play for us, is Tyrannical, which is boss enemies have 40% more health and inflict up to 15% increased damage. Bolstering, when any non-boss enemy dies, its death cry empowers nearby allies, increasing their maximum health and damage by 20%.
Oh, so you want to AoE everything? Got it.
And the reason we had 51 deaths.
Now, each or combined?
That's like each person dying counts as a death.
Oh, okay.
So that's not 51 wipes. That's 51 deaths total.
Yeah, so that's 10 wipes.
And I will say they were spread out. There were a couple runs on the first boss, which gave us a lot of problems, and there were a couple runs on the final boss. This was in... Oh, I gotta try and remember the name of the friggin' dungeon. The mythic one for the Horde side. King's something?
King's Rest.
King's Rest, that's it. Thank you.
I've been there many times.
King's Rest, with this last one, which is Grievous, and Grievous is when injured below 90% health, players will suffer increasing damage over time until healed above 90% health. This got really rough on the final boss, who does all the spinning axes that you have to avoid the entire time. And eventually, after wipe after wipe after wipe, we just said, you know what, we're going to 2-heal this. And we went with 2 healers because it was especially hard. Our group's DPS was 2 rogues, essentially.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of melee to be dodging axes and things like that. So it was rough, but it was a lot of fun. It was a very good time.
I know that particular boss is not very forgiving for a discipline priest either, so that could have been... Like, I know Kyle, and he's great, but discipline priest as a whole for that particular boss is not a good time.
Yeah, we had Spencer switch to Druid healing for that dungeon, and Kyle was DPSing with Shadow, and it was working pretty well, but even with Druid healing on that final one, it just became pretty clear, like, oh, we need a little more oomph, because some people couldn't run away from axes properly, and really insisted on getting hit by just about every single one of them.
So the boss kept asking you questions?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, do you want to live or die?
You want axe? I don't care. But we had some dumb wipes. You know, we had some where we just fell off a ledge or something like that. So, you know, these things happen. So, but it's good. It was good. But man, those affixes can be mean. But it's a fun mechanic that, you know, I haven't really experienced until now. You know, usually the early ones that you get on the kind of baseline mythics aren't really anything to write home about, or at least the ones that I've done. So this one was really, really good. Although Tyrannical, I will say, is kind of boring. Because it makes it to where even the bosses kind of seem to get bored.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Like, it
That
just
particular
felt
boss
like
is
at
special.
times they stopped doing their moves. It was just like, okay, you guys got it. What if we all just stood here and just DPS'd each other until this fight was over? And you're like, okay, we'll do that. Chop, chop, chop. And you just
Like
sat
the
there.
timer just kind of breaks because it's like, oh, I've been timing for a while. And then
Yeah.
whoever's watching it just forgot to turn it off or restart a new one or something.
Right.
It's like, oh crap, he's supposed to be throwing axes.
We didn't think people would take this long to kill this boss.
Yeah, the script is only good for 5 minutes.
I try to run that dungeon at a 7 or higher every week if I can. I don't always make it. 1 week in particular, I ran that same dungeon at a 5 or 6 plus over 13 times.
Gosh.
Best in slot weapon by far. Like I've got a 385 weapon. If I get a 370 of the weapon out of that for me, it's like a 10% increase in DPS. So I just keep running.
Wow, that's not bad.
So
Good
you love
looking.
it, is what you're saying. It's your favorite.
Yeah, it's my absolute favorite. I as soon as I get a nice weapon out of there, I will never look at that place ever again until it can Titan Forge even higher.
It's like me trying to get my hidden artifacts last expansion, where it's like, okay, well, I will never run that underground cave, the Deathwing one, Deathwing's lair or whatever. That's never going to get run, and the Warden's prison, never going to get run. I'm never going back to those, ever.
That kind of reminds me back when LFD actually was introduced back in Wrath. For some reason, every single time I did the group finder, it put me in the Nexus. I don't know why. It was just like okay,
Heroes
time
of
to
the
queue.
Storm.
Nexus. Nope. No, different Nexus, John. This is
Oh.
the one that had, you know, like the dragon who was frozen at the very end. You had to jump up and down.
I liked that one okay, but yeah, probably not if I had to do it all the time.
It's great unless you do it like 30 times in a row, like every single day. Not as much fun.
What was the one above it that everybody hated, where you had to ride the
Oculus.
dragons?
I got Oculus a ton.
See, I'm one of the few people who love the Oculus. Like even at level, even before everyone could just, you know, AoE down everything. I love that place because you get to ride a dragon around and like breathe crap on stuff.
The things that make you happy in a dungeon are so simple, Ben.
I know.
It's like it takes so little to get Ben to forgive like absolutely the worst things in the world. It's like, well, we're gonna come over. We're gonna jab you with hot pokers. And maybe stick a blade in you and twist it.
That doesn't sound good at all.
But we're gonna be showing you cute puppies up on a screen while we do it.
Ooh, puppies. I like puppies and cupcakes.
And Ben's just like, best instance ever. I don't understand why people don't like this.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here.
Did you not see
Heroic
the puppies?
Oculus with a pug group was how I learned to tank on my paladin in Holy Spec.
That's an interesting habit to do.
I happened to accidentally queue up as a healer also instead of just a DPS. And so I got thrown in as healer. And the tank left. We waited and waited and waited and no one came. I threw on the tank aura because it was an activatable ability at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go. And we went and we four-manned it. And people were like, you're a better tank than a lot of the tanks I've been getting. I'm like, I'm in Holy Spec. So I was I put a beacon on myself and I was healing everybody and DPSing and all that. And it was fun to the point where I started seeing what else can I tank in Holy Spec. I was able to successfully tank 2 dragon Sarth. I never got 3 dragon. Uh, most of Nax and Eye of Eternity. I remember all getting tanked by me in Holy Spec.
That's not bad. I mean, of course, the armor does help as a
It
mage at the
helps,
time.
and yeah,
Yeah, tanking as a mage is like, okay, guys, I'm gonna pull everything. You've got about 5 seconds. Do a
yeah.
whole ton of stuff, throw out as much damage as possible. They're running at me. I ice block, and then they're like, "Oh, never mind." And they turn back around. I'm like, "No, wait, you need to come over here."
It's like
And then just
evasion
blinking around,
tanking.
and
I'm gonna be
oh
an
yeah,
awesome tank for a couple seconds. And
Yeah,
then
and
hopefully you will have solved whatever problems are going on over there.
oh, and we've used that strategy, John. You know this
Hmm.
because I'm like, "Hey, John, pop evasion. We're gonna res the tank."
What I love is I don't remember when it was. I don't remember if it was Legion or this expansion, but we were doing something, and I remember you saying, "John, evasion," and I said, "We don't have it anymore." And I just remember, oh, like it was this real. It was this double rough kick because it was like, oh yeah, I remember when I had this ability. It was a lot of fun. Oh,
I
we're all
didn't know
gonna
that you don't
die
have it
too.
anymore. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
I have definitely bubble tanked on my paladin multiple times this expansion and last expansion.
I don't understand why on my healing monk I still have provoke as an ability,
You know.
but
You
I use
know.
it.
Yeah.
Like there have been times where we're in raid and we're getting so close to the end, and all of a sudden like Ted will go down, and then like someone get Ted up, and then the reason that he went down is like it was a mistimed taunt, and Neverending's got like this giant stack on her that she can't do, and it's gonna kill her in a second. So they go down. So I'm like, provoke. I bubble myself and I just run, and I'm just waiting and waiting until somebody else is able to pull it off of me, and like. 6 times out of 10, I die in that instance. But you know what? It's just enough so that the boss gets re-grabbed and then killed. But oh man, those are some of the most interesting times when like you're a healer and you have to make the decision of who lives, who dies. Am I going to sacrifice myself this time?
That was the old fun part about druids being able to turn into bears
Mm-hmm.
and just be able to be like, I'm your healer, but we need to figure something out. This tank's down. We're about to win. I'm a bear. Ah!
Oh, yeah,
And do
it's
bear
great when
things.
Mew's around. All of a sudden, both tanks are down. I see this. Brrr. I'm like, yes, we've got maybe 30
I've
seconds.
I've actually had issues with certain bosses breaking because of paladin bubble
Oh,
to
really?
to the point where even enrage didn't kill me because I got well, it was Elisand in Nighthold.
Oh, yeah.
She did the reset. I had we paladins have that ability where you can basically jump on a horse and go real fast. I happened to be on that horse when she did her reset, but I got stuck. I couldn't get out of it. I could still take damage, but at the time we had a talent where we could. It was called. I called it auto bubble. If you take fatal damage, bubble automatically goes off. End of story. But I was still stuck in time, so the timer on bubble never dropped to 0, and we ended up wiping on the boss. But I couldn't die. 8 minutes later, in the floor, if for anyone who doesn't know, the enrage timer, the floor goes all black and swirly, and basically that's going to kill you. But it doesn't kill a paladin because bubble. It took like 8 minutes for the boss to finally say, screw it, I'm gonna despawn anyway, and then it finally killed me. And my raid team was just like, you just had to go and break this boss, didn't you? I was like, I didn't do it on purpose, but it's amazing. And yeah, paladin bubble breaks things sometimes, so I'm just looking forward to what I can break next.
So, the thing that breaks my game most of the time is an elevator. Not because I die or anything like that, but because like I don't know how the coding or how anything works elevator wise. But there's always like special rules on an elevator. Like blink doesn't work as well, heroic leap kind of doesn't work as well. And for that first boss in Old Year, Ring of Peace doesn't work on the ads at all. And I'm so bummed because that is the most helpful spell in the world in there. So, John, have you done or can you remember the first fight in Old Deer?
Uh, an old deer.
Yeah, big robot dude. Basically, bloods kind of pop out. And they chase you around for phase two as
Yeah,
you're
I
riding an
remember
elevator
that
that goes
guy.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I should be able to pop Ring of Peace, and it like keeps the bloods from going towards targets. You know, they should bounce off and everything. They just go right through it. And I found that out the hard way the first time I tried it when they were getting close to me and I was in the middle of a heal and I had to do something really fast. So I dropped it and then it hit me and then I flew off the elevator. But luckily I'm a panda, so I was bouncy, so I lived. But I had to basically wait for a while the elevator came down. Yeah.
We had a demon hunter get knocked off this past week in our mythic. We were doing mythics, and he just used his glide ability all the way down. So his DPS was really low for that particular fight, but it didn't matter. It was Telic. And he was telling us exactly where the light beams underneath the platforms were because he could see them all without looking down. He was literally looking at them. He's like, okay, under this color is bad, under this color is bad.
That's
Oh, it's so
awesome.
great. I love it when you die, and because of that, you gain an advantage in raid. It's like
He didn't die though. He lived. He was able to. He used his glide. His demon hunter wings popped out, and he was just floating underneath the platform all the way down. And then when he finally got back down to the bottom, and when it gets close, it knocks everyone back, including people underneath the platform. So he didn't get squished.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. Yeah, breaking mechanics is so much fun.
Yeah, in a responsible and respectful way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as long as you're not intentionally trying to break the game and getting an unfair advantage because of it. You know, if things don't go according to plan, things happen. It's fun.
I
Once in a
mean,
while, breaking a boss so it can't kill you.
in a small way, we do it every dungeon. We find what is the optimal route to get through all this junk that they put too much of in this dungeon to avoid mechanics, or to avoid fights. That's not really a big exploit, but it's something. Like, if you run across this tree and through this shrub and do
Especially
this.
especially in Motherload, where you are actually avoiding literal mechanics.
Oh my gosh, Motherload. That was one of the mythics I ran today.
Oh man.
So that one actually was really rough because of the bolstering affix. Because what would happen is we would fight these guys and someone would get knocked back and it would spawn all those rats that would come out of
Oh
like the trash piles.
no.
But each one of those rats died would bolster the main boss that we were fighting. And it got to a point where we were literally respawning on the mob. And even with us respawning that close and being able to just continue the fight, he wiped our entire party probably 3 times.
Oh,
One mob,
man.
because he was so powerful from all the stuff that had died around him.
Yeah, at that point, my groups would have been like, you know what? Just stay dead. We're gonna let it reset.
Yeah.
Does the mob actually reset at that point, or does it stay bolstered the whole
If,
time?
It
if
reset.
everyone dies, it should drop everything after so many seconds.
Can you imagine if it didn't, though?
We beat it, bolstered. We were stubborn about it. And mostly it was because we got to keep riding the mine cart, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. You gotta love that mine
Minecarts
cart.
are awesome.
Yeah.
So when are they going
Yeah.
to put a minecart roller coaster in a random dungeon? Like, I know they're putting in a roller coaster in the Darkmoon Fair, but we need to have some sort of underground dungeon that totally Indiana Jones, like, in the Temple of Doom's it.
Oh, that'd be
Like-
fun.
Like, think about it this way: like, you have certain, like, you're in the middle of fighting mobs, like on a, say, like a big like platform cart going over, and at certain points, someone needs like click something in order to take a different route or whatever. And I'm not saying like you can fail the mine cart because that would just make it not fun, but you can make it so that depending on the route you go, you get like a whole bunch of gold or something else. Or
What if you could fail the mine cart?
well, fail it in the sense that you have to walk the rest of the way and fight through more trash. I would be all for. Not
Yeah,
fail it as an instant death.
what if it was instant death?
Then I wouldn't find it as fun.
As long as there was something to warn people, don't go this way, you're gonna die, I would be fine with it.
What
Like 5 warnings, like don't go to the right path. The right path is the worst. Like over and over again until someone's like, I'm gonna call their bluff.
what I want is each raid member is on their individual cart. And you're all going down the track. And whoever's in front needs to watch the signs and whatever and needs to make sure that the track is aimed in the right direction. But anybody can click it. So what happens is everybody's going down the track and then someone, maybe a fun-loving rogue that just wants to have a good time, who made sure that he got on like right before his mage friend or monk friend. Any class really. I just picked those two at random. Like as I'm going by, I can click it and divert the track, and the person next to me gets diverted off into another direction, possibly lava. I think that would be a mechanic I would support.
I had a feeling that might be what you're looking for. And I will admit, pretty awesome.
It'd be funny, right?
Yes, it would be. As long as it happened once. On the 5th time in the same dungeon run, maybe not.
I wouldn't do it 5 times in a row.
Yeah, you would.
No,
My-
I'd do it
funny every
once,
time.
maybe twice.
My worry with a mechanic like that is it just riding the roller coaster and there's nothing else going on, or are people going to have to DPS at all, or
Oh yeah,
anything
no,
like that?
you're fighting mobs while it's happening.
Are they like Lord of the Rings Archer style? You know, you're running across the
Oh,
bridge and
no,
you can't the
think,
melee can't do.
It's an elevator fight. So they're jumping on the mine cart and stuff, or there's another cart that like comes up next to you on a track that's next to you or something like that, and they jump across, and you can jump across if you want, but who knows where that one's gonna go or something.
Okay, I would be in favor of that fight as long as it wasn't long, because I remember the train from Warlords, and that was fun the first 2 or 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
but after that, it just was like, I don't want to do this place again, please.
Yep, but for some reason, the train level on GoldenEye is one of my favorites.
Weird.
It just sounded, the way you guys were describing it just sounded a lot like the train over at Grim Rail. And I was like, it could be fun the first couple times, depending on what it is. Now, if you add an added mechanic where there was a switch you had to click for left and right in the middle of fighting, that would change it up a bit. And especially if the path wasn't set the same every time. It's like, go left, then right, then left. You know, as long as it wasn't something like that, it could be like, go left 3 times, now right, now left. Different it up a bit.
I
That would make
basically
it more
want
entertaining.
you click it, the camera goes side scroller, and you have to beat the first minecart level from Donkey Kong Country.
With the jumping carts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How many raids would wipe if this was the objective?
Every single LFR for 3 weeks.
No, in LFR there's no holes. You just ride the mine car and that's it.
Oh, they'd find a way.
And someone stands in front and gets run over. I don't know. It's just a random idea. That could be something to play around with. I think it'd be fun.
Oh yeah,
I just
definitely a
love the
cool
idea
idea.
that someone gets stuck on a track that just goes in circles. And that's it.
I
They
do
never
like
end.
the idea of that. They can't click the thing they need to click. Like they're having problems with it. So the whole raid's like waiting for them, and you just see a guy on a track going,
Is the switch on a timer? So you have to click it within a certain time frame, otherwise it just reroutes you back around to try again and again.
You
Oh,
know,
no.
this is questions for Blizzard to answer, really. I think.
Exactly. Oh man, that could be really fun. I would really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the idea of just taking things from movies and putting them in. I mean, well, heck, that's what the entire what Old Doom zone was.
Yes,
which is good for
everybody's
one
favorite
time.
zone.
But
Yeah.
but no, I mean just like I like the idea of, and this is gonna sound really weird, and it is not even close to what I'm kind of going for, but I would love to have just a bunch of trash, but everything dies in like a single hit. And you're just kind of running, trying to catch up with something, or like something's chasing you, but there's all these little things that are attacking you along the way. And if you get overwhelmed, then you can actually wipe on it, but you do have to keep like, fighting along the way. Like not a gauntlet type thing, but I don't know.
But
I
like
just
the
have like
actual game Gauntlet.
exactly. And red or green elf needs food badly.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't a single hit, but Wrath did give us a dungeon quite like that, where Arthas would chase you, and if he caught you, you were dead.
Yeah, see, something like that would be kind of cool. And I like the idea of being chased like that. That was actually a really interesting mechanic until all of a sudden you hit a wall and then you just have to wait and fight stuff as it gets to you. Maybe something more active where you're constantly on the move. And keep in mind, I'm saying this as someone who needs to stand still in order to do like 90% of my abilities. I just, I don't know, something like more action paced, I think would be kind of cool for like a dungeon challenge or something like that. And I mean, I'm not saying action based like, okay, get out of this cone in front of everybody or something like that. Just I don't know, something that's you have a sense of purpose that you need to get to. Like I'm not saying it's exactly timed, but well, maybe I am. I don't know. I'm just
Look,
kind of like going bleh with
all I
ideas.
know is this, Ben. Today, while other people fought trash, I was instructed to not fight trash and instead stealth and go follow a dog for a little while.
Oh,
And
really?
that means it's the best dungeon experience I've ever had.
Oh, that's good. What happened with the dog?
He walked around and then he got tired and fell asleep. And then I took a key off of him and then I let a pirate out of a cage.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I
Mm-hmm.
know what dungeon that is.
I need to play this dungeon, and I need to be a rogue.
Yeah.
Is there something that
Yeah.
monks can do?
And then I also grabbed a pig. I did a lot of
Ooh.
fun things in that dungeon. I
Oh,
was the
that's
one who
cool.
got the pig. It was me.
So what you're saying is that I need to run freehold.
Yes.
Okay, I will do that at some point.
That one's my favorite mythic to run, as long as it's a mythic 0, because you can skip like 90% of it if your comp is right. If you have a warlock, you can skip the very end, and you have. I think there's 7 trash packs you have to kill with, and as long as you're careful, you don't have to worry about anything else, and you just get around to everything. With a warlock, you can skip 2 of those. So
That's
that's
kind
my
of
favorite
cool.
run for a regular mythic, because you take the, what, like we were mentioning earlier, you take this certain path where you're skipping everything and it's really weird, but you're overall saving time, and you just go through and you're like, okay, that was fun. Let's do that again 4 times, because we have mythic for the week is our weekly for our special cache.
Huh. All right. I know what I'm looking forward to then.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, Draven, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. It was a lot of fun talking with you and thinking of really cool clothes to wear and dungeon mechanics and stuff like that. Where can people find you when you're not on our show?
Well, the easiest way to find or get a hold of me on the internet is via Twitter at Draven Dresden, because I'm so original that way. And I'm up for conversations as long as you're civil. I'll even talk to people about a certain un not well received announcement recently, where I was actually defending it, even though I'm not a big fan of the idea itself. But as long as people are civil, I will have that conversation. So that's where you get a hold of me. If you want to find something else that I do mostly weekly, I have the Epic Fail podcast, which is going to be tomorrow night. I think we're going to have a show. I'm not 100%. I got to wait on my co host to get back to me to see if he can make it. But it's over on twitch.tv/Epic Fail podcast, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It's Blizzard in general. It's a news show. So if you like the news and weird banter, Not nearly as funny as these two clowns that I'm here with. And I mean that in the best possible way, by the way.
I'm scared of
But,
clown.
okay, well, not clowns then. These two jokers. Wait, no, he looks like a clown. These two great and wonderful individuals.
Oh, you're definitely
And
not talking about us then.
no, yeah, no, I am. I think you guys are great.
Aw.
Thanks for having me on. I've been like, one of these days I'll get the invite. I can't wait until I'm that person. And of course, I go and ruin it by mentioning a certain fruit right there at the beginning.
Well, you only ruined it with one of us. The other is more than happy to talk about it. Assuming he has the voice with which to do it, which he does not today.
John, you're a fan of grapefruit?
Half that.
Anyways, Draven, it's been fantastic having you on. John, what about you? Where can people find you?
Hey, if you want to hear more from me, check me out talking about Heroes of the Storm on Core.
Core!
That is the Heroes of the Storm show I do, part of the Frog Pants Network. You can also catch me playing Dungeons and Dragons on Saturdays, twitch.tv/frogpants. That's at 3 p.m. Pacific, I think. Is it? I don't know.
What time did you used
2?
to do it at?
I did it at 2.
Yeah, so then it'd be 2 p.m. Pacific.
Oh. Is that how time? Oh, so it's 3 my time now. It's 3 Mountain Time.
That's how that works.
It used to be 2 for me, now it's 3. I don't know how time zones work.
Well, that's because everyone folds around us.
Yeah, like Taco.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 Mountain, and then there are other time zones that I'm not even going to try because I've already messed up once. So check that out. More information about that show at therewillbedungeons.com.
Oh, and now Wicked Kitten is saying that it's 3 Pacific.
What?
You know
That's
what?
not
Fly
right.
casual.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at John_Jagger, and I'll tell you when we're going to do it. It'll be tomorrow.
You're doing it tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow. Ben, where can people find you?
Best place to find me is I'm on Twitter at Ben the Mage. I also do a show with Eluder called Battle Pets, where we talk about battle pets in the World of Warcraft. Also, yeah, that's about it right now. Work is getting busier and everything, so finding time to stream is hard. And I know I say that, and I promise to do stuff, but I am going to get back to Last of Us at some point when I do have some free time, because, yeah, that is a great game, and I really need to play it.
Yeah, I was enjoying that when you were doing it, till you stream faded.
Oh, I'm coming back. But the thing is that, I just got to the point where it's just me and Ellie, so there's a very good chance that the game is just opening up. Anyways, this show, Azeroth Roundtable, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. We also stream every single Friday nights. Generally, at this time of year, is actually going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific. So join us then. That is a time change that we know about and follow accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we got our shiny new subscription button. So if you have an Amazon Prime account that you aren't using for anything else, or a Twitch Prime, I should say, toss it over to us if you want. If not, that's fine. If you have any questions, comments, want to talk about your fun times of minecart racing or whatnot, send those emails to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. And of course, all of our episodes are found on AzerothRoundtable.com, also on iTunes and other places where fine podcasts are found.
These shows are made possible by people who go to patreon.com/AzerothRT and help us out. A big thank you to our newest pledges? Is
Patrons.
that patrons? There's the word. Pledges, I don't even know what that would be. Anyway, Bersh Kaber and Jesse O, thank you so much for joining us on this. As always, we want to send out a special thank you to the Murloc Club, Aaron Somdi, Frasley S, Haster, Jim G, and Sash H. Thank you for being part of the Murloc Club. If you... Whoa. Oh, hey. Whoa. Jeez. Guy's gotten a big head and taken up more airtime, that Murloc.
Yeah, come on, Art, shut up.
Jeez. Hey. if you want to join them or at the Murloc Club level or any other, you can go to patreon.com/AzerothRT. We appreciate your support.
Yep. So make sure that you log into World of Warcraft, celebrate some anniversary, use that extra rep bonus and experience bonus that you get. Enjoy your time in there. Draven, it's been an absolute pleasure. Chat room, you are awesome as always. John, thank you for coming, even though you're starting to get a little sick, but you know what? You're going to curb it and feel better.
I'm so sick.
No, you're going to be well enough to play D&D tomorrow. That's what
I
matters.
am going to be well enough, unless I'm dead, to play D&D tomorrow.
All right, perfect.
But my character might start off by falling and hitting their throat on a spike or something.
That works. And with that, everybody at the round table, have a good night and be good to each other.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.
All right.
Say goodbye in weird voices. Bye.
I can't do a weird voice. It's just me. Yay.
And that's how the show's going to end. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with my Discord eating up so much RAM. I'm going to look into it and figure out what's going on. Or maybe
I
my
actually
camera-
was looking it up as you were restarting, and it said you might be in too many active Discords. I'm like, no, he's probably in less than I am, and I almost never have that issue. It just is a random Discord.
Well, I'm in 15 Discords, so maybe.
I'm in 87, and I cut down.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
never mind. I don't know. Maybe it's something with my webcam. Maybe I'm like, I don't know, throwing out too much of the HD. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I just felt the need to parse mine down, and I am now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, good job.
Down to 7.
Good job. Good job. I'm proud of you.
I've got different raid teams, different podcast shows.
6.
I've got a Critical Role one. My D&D groups all have it. A couple streamers have their own, and it's just the list keeps going on and on and on. A lot of them are fairly dead, but some of them are pretty active too. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not an activity issue.
Oh yeah, we went over. So chat, we're gonna call it there. We're gonna say have a good night, and we're gonna raid lagging balls. So.
Oh yeah, how do we do that?
How do you
How do we raid?
I don't know.
We need to learn how to raid. Hold on.
Like the command
Yeah.
/raid.
Oh, who'd have thought?
All right, I'm gonna stop streaming. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week, and let's raid.